Hello everyone and welcome to the Man United agenda. This is the player ratings for Manchester United versus Norwich. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Man United agenda. Please hit the like and subscribe button. With me today I have got Talk. How are you today, Talk?
Yeah, good. It's been a bit of a busy day with two draws for the Champions League, and then other sort of breaking news that came in as we were, Monday we're streaming and etc. So, yeah, it's been a bit of an eventful day, and yeah, there's lots to talk about later. But at the moment, I guess we better just stick to the job at hand.
Already we've got Christmas time with Vaughn in the chat. Hello to you there, Vaughn. I hope you're well. I am absolutely shattered from an intense Just Dance session. Hope you're both okay.
Wait a minute. What is that? Christmas time, Vaughn. What's that about? I don't understand what that is.
It's because it's Christmas time, so he's changed his name from bath time to Christmas time.
Yeah, no, but the intense Just Dance session. What does that mean?
I think Just Dance is one of them weird games, isn't it?
No. I remember now. He said during one of the streams earlier on. That's right. He said something about he's going to put Just Dance, which is David Bowie, and he's going to dance. He's right. Sorry, Vaughn. Right, I remember now, bro. Actually, good taste, mate, as well. If you're into David Bowie, mate, yes.
He said it's a dancing game.
Oh, it's a dancing game?
Yeah, I'm sure I've heard one called Just Dance. I'm sure I have. Got Rebel here in the chat. Hello to you, Rebel. I hope you're well. And Mr. B is in the chat as well. Hi, Mr. B. We'll start off with our player ratings then, and we'll start with David De Gea. David De Gea played a full 90 minutes. He had 5 shots on targets against him and a save percentage of 100%. To be honest, I was so impressed with David De Gea. He literally kept us in the game. There was 2 saves in particular what stood out for me. One in the first half where he saved it with just one hand, and the other one was in the 90 plus 1 minute where he made that amazing save. I actually thought it went in. I was like, oh my God, we have conceded in the last minute. What have we done? Yeah. That's how I literally felt. And you know what Manchester United does to me, but absolutely outstanding from David De Gea. He was my man of the match for me easily, and I'm going to give him a 9. What are you going to give De Gea?
No, listen, I totally agree. Those 2 saves. One was the Pukki. I think Pukki got... He sort of shimmied and dummied.
Yeah, that was the first half one, wasn't it?
And he tipped it with his fingertips right over the bar. And the second one was that was from a cross. I think it was from a cross, and it got headed down, and he kind of he just got across and got that big hand and put it to safety as well. Not only did he save it, but he pushed it out to safety, which was it was absolutely fantastic save. And I think he's really getting back to his best and really good form. So you know what, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to give him a 9, and probably man of the match as well.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. We'll go on to our next player now, Dalot. Dalot played a full 90 minutes, a passing accuracy of 80%. He had 3 interceptions and 1 yellow card. Dalot, for me, was also such a good player. I feel like he was good in terms of his shooting ability. He done a couple of good crosses for me. He was even good with his defending, and I think he's getting such good form at Manchester United. And I think Wan-Bissaka has got a difficult job if he wants to try and get that first choice right back before Dalot at this point, because Dalot, for me, he hasn't made a step wrong at this moment in time. And for me, I'm going to give Dalot a 7. What are you going to give Dalot?
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100% because he's come on a ton, hasn't he, in the last few games when he's been picked and started. I think that there's a mental shift when you know that you're getting game time. There's a mental shift. So you know what? I think we're starting to see that from him now. I bet his training is more intense. I bet he's pushing himself more in training because he knows now that what, if I keep doing this, then he's going to keep getting picked. And it's now, like you said, down for Wan-Bissaka to pull himself back to the standard that he needs to be at.
Yes. So overall, I definitely do think he has been so good for Manchester United. I did have doubts in terms of Dalot, just because I felt like with Dalot, he didn't prove himself. But I think in this pressing formation, in this 4-2-2, and knowing that it's so much more intense, he's doing so much better, and he isn't rash with his decisions like we have seen with Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well. So I think at this moment in time, he's definitely that first choice right back at this moment in time. I know there's a couple more comments, so I'll quickly go through them. Solo has said, big up everyone, big up to you, Solo. Christmas time with on, amazing in the box, awful starting position, and a lot of our problems was from how deep he was, but you can't give him less than a 7. Rebel, yo, boss man, need you to drop some clangers this week. People too well pay for this. Solo has said 8 for me. Christmas time with on, 8's fair. Dalot no more than a 6 was okay, but he was far from the centre backs and less space from the Norwich wide players. What was you going to give Dalot in terms of a score talk?
Yeah, I was going to say around about 7, 6 or 7. I think, yeah, he played a couple of good crosses in, but you know, there are obviously aspects of his game that does need to sharpen up on. But again, we're looking at the whole team here. You know, that was not by any stretch of the imagination a good performance. So, you know, I mean, can we really? I mean, yeah, okay, you can pick out individual player, you know, errors here and there, but I think overall there is a huge improvement with him, and I understand what Baftam's saying there about his positioning and etc. So, yeah, that's just something that is going to be. We're going to see an improvement. There's no two ways about it.
We'll go on to the next player now, Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire played a full 90 minutes, a passing success of 88.50%, 5 aerials, 1 and 6 clearances. For me, I actually felt like this was Harry Maguire's best game this season. I think he was absolutely amazing. He was so well defensively. I felt like in certain parts of the game, he was keeping Pukki, he was keeping Billy Gilmore quiet, and they're the 2 biggest threats for me at Norwich. And some of them blocks what he did make, especially in the first half, I was extremely impressed with him. There was one in particular where he had his legs stretched out, and I thought, wow, this is not Harry Maguire I've seen for quite a while. So for me, I'm going to give Harry Maguire a 7, just because I felt like he was definitely the better centre-back, and I think he improved so much in his game from what I have seen in the past. What about you, Talk?
Yeah, I mean, he did a good header as well, don't forget. You know, he did a good header.
He did.
I think it was Sancho who put a cross in. And then he got across it, and I think the keeper saved it, actually. I think he tipped it over. But yeah, I mean, it was a good game for him. I think there was a couple of moments, if my memory serves me right, where he was just a little bit slow in responding to danger. The ball had got in front of him, and then he's facing his own goal, and he was kind of jogging, you know, not like sprinting across, or thinking, right, okay, look, if you're not going to go across and help out who's facing up the attacking player, then be aware of who's behind you, right? Because he wasn't doing either. He was sort of stuck in no man's land. So that was a bit of a, you know, I was like, yeah, okay. Obviously, I don't think, you know, it didn't come to anything, but, you know, going forward, it could do. But I do think it was a decent game for him all round. So I'll give him a 7.
Just want to say hello there to Niall Kane, who's also in the chat. Vaughan did give Harry Maguire a 6, and Niall gave Harry Maguire a 5. So I'll move on to the second centre-back, which was Victor Lindelof. Lindelof played a total of 74 minutes, a passing success of 83.30%, 3 clearances and 1 tackle. For me, I just felt like with Lindelof, it wasn't one of his better games. There were some parts where he seemed a bit weaker on the ball when he was trying to take on Pukki. Especially, I noticed that more in the second half. I really do like Lindelof. And I do hope he's all okay with what has happened, because I did hear that he did have the breathing difficulties as well. I'm not too sure what the update is on that. So I do hope he is all okay, but I just felt like it wasn't Lindelof's day. There was just a couple of parts of me where he was just a bit too weak on the ball. And for that, I'm going to give him a 6. What are you going to give Lindelof?
I think, you know what, I think this is what we know when we hear Ralph talking about players, developing players technically and physically. I think Victor Lindelof falls into the physically category.
I agree.
I think he needs to get a little bit more. How should we say? Not weight, but he needs I think he needs a few extra poundage and a bit of time in the gym. You know, get a bit more stature about him, because, like you say, he does get bullied off the ball quite easily, and he's, you know, and also when that shot Pukki took, which David De Gea tipped over, he was just half a yard too late in getting across.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So he could have been across. I mean, look, I know people might look at it and think, wait a minute, you're being a bit harsh there, but it's like, no, but look, just look at the situation. Go back and watch it again. Look at his position. Look at what he can see, and he can see what's happening in front of him. But he leaves it just that little moment too late where he gets across, he puts his foot out, but the ball's already gone past his foot. So if David De Gea, if David De Gea wouldn't have saved that, then, you know, it would have been a goal. But, you know, I think there is a decent player in Victor Lindelof, and obviously, of course, we all wish him, you know, the Iceman, the absolute best, and the hope. And it seems that he might have got an elbow or a bang in the solar plexus, which can give you a bit of a problem, you know, if it's hard enough. So let's just hope it was that, and it's nothing else, and we see him, you know, fit and ready for the next game, because I don't think Varane's going to be back.
I agree. I would personally say, if, for example, the games do go ahead for Brentford and Brighton, I'd personally wait for Varane for the weekend game, just because I do feel like with Brighton it is going to be a much harder game compared to Brentford, with Brentford having a couple of players out. The first choice goalkeepers have also got Ivan Toney out as well. So there's two of their biggest threats out already against Manchester United. So I feel like with Brighton, I feel like they are very good at the moment, Brighton, with how they are on the ball, and they can cause that big, massive threat. We always know when we do play Brighton, it can be that threat. And I think Varane as well, because they're a bit more physical compared to other teams, I'd say Brighton too. So I think Varane would suit that game a bit more, and for him to come back for that game as well, I think that'll be a better game for him to come back to, rather than going to a weekday Brentford. That would be my personal opinion anyway.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't know what the situation is regarding Rafael Varane, but you know, I'm sure Ralph's more than on it to make these kind of the correct decisions. But in terms of a score for Lindelof, considering what happened, I don't want to be too harsh. I'm going to give him a 7.
Christmas time with Vaughan gave Lindelof a 6, and we've got Nevy in the chat as well saying best defender for us at the moment. I'm not too sure if she was on about Lindelof or Varane, because I know we did touch on Varane a little bit. So
can you
let us know in the comment.
Yes. Welcome, by the way. I don't know who you are. I've not seen you before, but welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for tuning in to the channel. We'll go now on to our next player, which is Telles. Telles played a full 90 minutes, a passing success of 77.80%, 4 tackles, 1 total shot. All I can say is I really like Telles at the moment. I think a lot of people say that he is very poor defensively, but from what I have seen in these past couple of games, defensively he's been brilliant. Look at that, 4 tackles. I think that was the most tackles he actually from our back 4. Yeah, he got the most tackles out of the back 4. So that in itself just shows how well defensive he's been. He's very good in his terms of his crosses, his set pieces, his corners. He had that. I remember that shot. I feel like that shot was in the first half, and I think Telles was definitely my best defender of the game, and I'm going to give Telles an 8. What are you going to give Telles?
Yeah, I really like Telles. I think I don't think he's as bad as people make out in terms of his defensive responsibilities. He makes some really good tackles. I think he's got good positioning. I like the way he stays wide when he does decide to go up the pitch. You know, he stays nice and wide, offering himself up for underlaps, overlaps, etc. His crossing abilities, brilliant. And that free kick, it needed saving. you know, it needed saving. So he did really well on that one. There's no two ways about that. So I think, again, you know, you're talking about players here that have been out of the fold, who have now all of a sudden been thrown back into the deep end, you know, under Ranić, being told new instructions. I think they're handling it very well, if I'm honest with you. And I think over the next, you know, the next coming weeks and months, etc., they can only improve. So, you know, I think going forward, I've got a lot of faith in both Dalot and Telles, if I'm honest. So I'm going to give Telles, I'll give Telles a 7. I think that's fair.
We got Yank talking smack here. He said he's improved massively defensively over the course of this season. I agree with that completely. Christmas time with Vaughan is giving Telles a 5 because he was disappointed in his attacking play. So that's fair enough, because I did see that there was them couple of crosses what I feel like could have happened but didn't. So I do understand this point completely. We'll go on to the next player now, McTominay. McTominay played a full 90 minutes, a passing success of 88%, 4 aerials, 2 total shots. I know I've been critical about McTominay, and I actually think this was McTominay's better games. I was really impressed with McTominay, if you want me to be fairly honest. I think defensively, he was so well. And with him being so well defensively, it allowed Fred that little bit more freedom. McTominay wasn't doing as many side back passing, which I've always been critical about as well. He was actually going forward with the ball, letting us have them a few more opportunities as well. And when it's needed to be, he was there to help us in the defensive area too. So especially in the first half, I was very impressed with McTominay in particular, and I think he had one of the best stats in the first half as well, from if I remember. I'm going to give McTominay a 7 because I was very impressed with McTominay. What would you give McTominay, Talk?
I'm gonna give him a 7 as well, and I agree with what you said there. What he does well is when he sees space when we're attacking.
Yeah.
When we're already committed to attacking, he sees the space and he gets up and he gets up quick and offers himself up. He's done that in the past couple of games though. He puts himself about a bit, but I think it needs that kind of. There are opportunities in the game where you think, wait a minute, there's an opportunity right there. You know, you can watch any of the last sort of 4, 5, 6 games and see opportunities when he's on the ball, and you see right there is an opportunity for you to either play it forward or just turn your man and go forward with the ball, you know, and play it off. Which is, I don't know if that's a confidence thing, an instructional thing, or whatever. But he also played an absolute blinding cross, which Bruno.
Yes, he did.
Bruno misjudged it. You know, he just put it high and wide of the goalie's right hand side post, which was, you know, when it was going in, I remember on the watch along, he was like, I thought it was going to, you know, Bruno was going to bury it, but no, you know, he's like went into Rose Ed, but no, yeah, I mean, look, I've been critical of McTominay as well, only because I want him to be better. I really do. And again, there were signs of that in the last game, so maybe the Ranić effect is taking effect on Scott as well.
Did you guess what rating are you giving Scott?
Did I not say it before I started?
I couldn't remember.
I think
was it 7? Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember. Baby brain. Christmas time with Vaughan has also gave McTominay a 7 or an 8, saying he was the best outfield player, and I do agree with that. I actually think he was one of our better outfield players, and I do think it was one of McTominay's best games of this season. I actually thought too. We'll go on to the next player now, Fred. He played a full 90 minutes, a passing success of 90.80%, 7 tackles, 1 total shot. All I can say is, wow, Fred, what a player have we witnessing under Ranić. He's absolutely, I want to say breathtaking. It's breathtaking to watch how well he is. And I think what helps is because Fred is such a pressing player, and because everybody else is pressing now around him, when he presses and makes that little bit of a mistake, it's not seen as bad, but because he was the only one who was pressing, and because if he gave the ball away after pressing, he was seen as the bad person for it.
That's the key, Amazing, right there, what you've just said. The key to this is look, when you play football, if you're going to press the ball, right? Whenever you're playing football and you go up to challenge somebody for the ball, right? Just because you're doing that doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to come away with the ball. It doesn't work like that. That's why you have to press in numbers, because when you press somebody for the ball, they get them panicked. They then try to either lay it off, which you either block and it squirts off to somebody else. You either win the ball from them, or you foul them. But it needs other people around, to support you to get the ball. Once you've caused the problem, the ball's released from the opposition. It needs somebody else to be in the place to come in and scoop it away. And then they've got the decisions to make then. And then after you've done your job, wherever your instructions are, you're the one who stays or you're the one who goes, or you stay when one goes. You do whichever you need to do. So for me, like with Fred, I mean, he played in a couple of some good passes during that game. He stayed
some
back
real
as well.
good tackles as well.
Yeah.
And he went forward when he needed to be. He found them little bits pocket of space where he could go that little bit forward and have that little bit of freedom on the ball as well. And we're noticing it a lot better because we used to notice it at Brazil and I was thinking, it's because he's got two CDMs of Casemiro and Fabinho next to him. But I actually think it's just because the team now we're playing in this formation, he's got that little bit of freedom because everybody's pressing at the same time. People are actually putting on more a defensive structure as well. So it's helping Fred to have that little bit more freedom on the ball. And I think he would continue to do even better if we did have that CDM as well.
Yeah. He also did, like I said before, he stayed back when Scott went.
Yes.
You see, when Scott was heading towards the box, Fred would stay back as that out ball, as the backup. And again, I think this is where Ranić is going to start. We're going to start to see the improvements in terms of the use of these two players, where one goes and one stays. When one goes, the one stays as a kind of a 1-2 with each other. They can, if they wanted to, they could actually dictate the pace of the game if they want to do that. If Scott McTominay, for example, carries the ball forward and is towards the box, and then he's getting closed down, he's got nowhere to go, other players are being man marked, he knows that Fred's going to be there. He can easily pass that ball back to Fred, and Fred then can recycle it and push it somewhere else. At which time Scott can make movements because players will go to the ball, unless they're totally parking the bus and trying to hold their shape, which would work for us, to be fair, because we can. We've got the players who's got great movement to get in and around them and quick one-touch passing, so that would be easier for us. But Fred was and is getting so much better, and I'm going to give him an 8.
I'm going to agree with that score. I'm going to give Fred an 8 as well. Mehdi is in the chat. Hello to you, Mehdi. I hope you're well. Christmas time with Vaughan has said Fred 7 did everything he normally does, let down in leading the press by the front 4. Mehdi said, I will see this one later, don't have time to watch it on YouTube. Before I go, any news on tomorrow's game? Has it been postponed? I haven't heard anything about the game as of yet, so as it stands, it still looks like it is going ahead. Most likely though, we'll probably hear it tomorrow, won't we, if it's going to be postponed, if you agree with that talk?
I was hoping that we'd hear something tonight because it seems to me, if I'm totally honest with you, from what I've read earlier and heard earlier, I can't see how it possibly can go ahead. I don't see how can we, there's too many incidences of this now being these positive tests around too many clubs. I think the Premier League needs to just halt proceedings for 10 days, 14 days, and I know the knock-on effects then, because you just extend the season by 2 weeks. Because there would still be enough time at the end of the season for players to have enough rest before the season starts early for the World Cup. You know what I mean?
Or potentially though, because last season when Aston Villa had an outbreak in the FA Cup, they still had to play. They played the youth team against Liverpool. I know that's a bit unfair, but you need to think of it as well. Like when it comes to a bit nearer to the end of the season, they're going to have a rampack of games. Just like if, for example, like Manchester United went to the Champions League final, for instance, we're going to have a rampack of games if we've got the FA Cup there as well, and then we've got the postponed games at the end of the season. It's just going to be a bit too much.
Yeah, I just don't know what to expect, if I'm honest with you.
No, I agree. We'll go to the last comment with Christmas time with Vaughan. Mick, Fred, I know are universally derided. Yeah, but they're extremely good at what they are asked to do. I agree. I think as well with Mick, Fred. I feel like Bruno actually like flourishes a lot more with McFred. Do you know, compared to a Matic and Donny or Matic and Pogba at the back? I think when they've got McFred at the back, it gives him a little bit more freedom, and he seems a lot more comfortable on the ball as well. That's what I think too in terms of Bruno. But we'll go to Bruno now anyway. Bruno played a total of 88 minutes, passing success of 67.20%, 2 accurate long balls, 1 total shot. With Bruno, when I was watching him, it just felt like he was quite fatigued, and it feels like even though he had that rest against Young Boys, it still feels like he needs a bit more of a rest. I don't know whether if the system's not suiting him or he's just very tired, because he's one of Manchester United's players where we want to start him near enough every single game. And I just felt like he was giving the ball a bit too cheaply away at times. And that instance what you did mention where McTominay had the cross, you would have expected Bruno to bury that, because, you know, Bruno is so good on the ball. And 80% of since Bruno has started the Premier League, 80% he has scored or assisted in his games. 80%. That is just crazy stats.
Yeah, it's crazy stats.
And it just shows how influential he has been to the Manchester United, how creative he's been for Manchester United. And it's just a bit of a shame. And I just feel like at the moment, he definitely does need a rest. And for me at the moment, I'm going to give Bruno a 6, just because it wasn't one of Bruno's better games. And it just felt like at times I wasn't seeing a lot of Bruno Fernandes neither. What do you think about Bruno?
Yeah, I mean, look, with Bruno, you know, he's gonna always be looking for the ball. And you know what? I'm not too concerned, if I'm honest, about the amount of times he loses the ball or gives the ball away, because there's enough players around him to be able to, you know, sort of compensate for that and to receive the ball and challenge for the ball and get it back. He's the creator. He's the one who pulls the trigger, you know, for the final ball for hopefully for the forwards to latch onto, and, you know, or himself having a shot. So, you know what? So what if he gives the ball away 10 times in a game, but then makes one good turn with the ball, plays one pass through, and Ronaldo or Rashford get onto it and score, and we win 1-0. There's his job done. He's done his job. So I don't want to be too harsh on him before that, because, like I say, he's a creative player, you know, and as a creative player, you cannot stand still and just think, okay, well, I'm just going to get the ball played to me, and then I can decide what I'm going to do with it. No. You know, he's always thinking, he's always looking ahead in a kind of a way, a little bit, when I say this, don't get in the wrong way, but a little bit like Paul Scholes in terms of being ahead of the play in his mind. You know, he's got things, he sees opportunities before they're even there. So when he gets the ball, you see him try things, and then that's when he gives the ball away, because he's too, you know, he's thinking too hard ahead of himself. But like I just said, you know what? So what if he gives the ball away 10 times, but then scores, or plays the ball through, then we score, we win 1-0 or 2-1, his job's done. So Bruno, for me, gets a 7.
Christmas time with Ron. Fred has been one of our best playmakers for the last 2-3 years. It's because he wins the ball up the pitch, and McTominay has to cover 3 players. He's one of our best long-range passers. Bruno was a generous 3. Everything broke down around him. His press was erratic, and he lost every switch ball he tried.
Well, look, in terms of the press, listen, we were not under any circumstances pressing. We just weren't. You cannot. I'll go back to what Ralph Rangnick says himself, and you can't argue with this. You can't be half pregnant, right? You're either pregnant or you're not. So you either press or you don't press. We were not pressing. We were giving them far too much respect, far too much time on the ball. You know, look at the space they had at times on the wings, even in the midfield area. So what went wrong there? I have no idea. But that's something that Ralph, he does need to sort of get that fixed up sharpish. You know, you're either going to hold your shape, you know, and make it really difficult so they've got obstacles to get round. All right. Or we're going to press as a team, everybody. You know, you make life very, very difficult for them in order to be relaxed and comfortable on the ball. So you limit their ability to make good decisions. You know what I mean? That's another idea of it is, you know, you don't want to give them the time to sort of be able to read what's going on in front of them, so they can take 1, 2, even 3 touches and then play a ball. That's ridiculous. No, Pressing means they've got no time whatsoever. Look at Liverpool, how they press. Look at how Chelsea would press you, or Manchester City. Woo, they're around you like wolves within seconds. You can't breathe. You can't breathe. You can't move. You can't think. And it knocks the confidence right out of you that you're actually going to be able to create chances at all. So, yeah, that's that.
We'll go on to the next player now, Marcus Rashford. Rashford played a total of 90 minutes, a passing success of 74.20%, 3 total shots, 1 accurate long ball. I wasn't impressed with Marcus Rashford's performance at all. I know he's a wing player and he's supposed to take on defenders, but I felt like he was taking on the defenders far too much for me. Instead of passing the ball where he could see like Ronaldo was there, or he could see Bruno was there, or even Sancho, he didn't take the opportunity. And he was getting depossessed a lot for me, especially into their box, and that was costing us too, because we could have easily got another 2, maybe 3 shots out of that, even more. And it just felt like he wasn't pressing neither. He wasn't trying to win back the ball neither. And for me, I'm gonna give Rashford a 4. I just felt like he hasn't performed well enough for me. And I feel like him, as well as Bruno, does need a rest, especially for the Brentford game. What are you going to give Rashford, Talk?
I'm going to give him a 6, just because of his endeavour and his energy. But I don't believe he's 100% match fit. I think he's got a little way to go yet before he's back 100% him again. But he was finding some really good positions, during that game. He was, and he did have, like you say, he had three shots, accurate long ball, pass success, etc. So I know we all expect more from Marcus because he's scored some important goals for us, and but let's not forget whether it was 1 operation he had or 2, the Euros saga and everything going on with the campaign for the kids and stuff, and he's away from the game. It's a lot to take on for such a young man, and you know what I think? I think he's just a slightly off the pace, just a touch, and I think he will get. The reason I think he would play the 90 minutes is I think Ralph knows the value he brings to the team, and it's a case of, look, no, he needs the minutes out there to get the match fitness, to get match sharp, And I think over the next, if he's fit, he will be playing. There's no 2 ways about that, in my opinion. And if that's the case, I'm all for that, because, like I say, give him another couple of games, and I think once he gets a goal or 2, I think we're going to see, what we all know we can see out of Marcus.
I do feel like at the moment, I feel like Rashford is better as an impactful sub, because we know we can do that. We've seen it in the Leicester game. Even though we lost it, he still managed to get a goal for us. There was another one, Villarreal. Him and Bruno coming on as an impactful sub won us the game when Michael Carrick was in charge. So I think at this moment in time, whilst he's building his fitness back up again, I think he's better off being an impactful sub. And then once he builds up that pace again, that stamina up, these fitness levels, then I'd say put him in the starting 11. But I don't think he suits being up top with Cristiano Ronaldo. I think when you are playing up front, you're probably better off playing another number 9, if that's Cavani when he's fully fit, or Greenwood. And because Rashford's more of a wing player, and I think maybe he'd be better off where Bruno was playing, on the left, just behind Cristiano Ronaldo. I think that's probably where he'd be better playing. So he's linking up with Sancho, rather than playing up top with Cristiano Ronaldo, because I don't think that helps him where he's playing neither.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. Because he is, he's more of a winger than a striker. But let's not forget, he does know how to put the ball in net. There's no 2 ways about that. He's lethal in front of the goal. If he gets on 1-on-1 with a keeper, 9 out of 10 times he'll put it in the net, and that is a real asset. And I just think this is why I think Ralph will stick with him and keep giving him the game time, because I don't think it's a physical thing. I think it's more you get a thing in golf called the yips. You can't quite do the maneuver correctly because of all sorts of reasons, and I think that's the case with Marcus. He's just got a bit of that going on, and he needs to just keep being played, and he'll snap out of it, and he'll come good for us. So I don't want to give up on him just yet.
No, I will never give up on my players at all, but I just feel like when you know someone, when you have seen how capable somebody is in the past and then they're not doing the best for you, you feel a bit disheartened in a way, and you do want them to get that bit better. But especially when you know, I think he's lacking confidence. But a lot of people do say the Euros, but you do look at other players who haven't lacked confidence. Like you look at Phil Foden, for instance, Mason Mount for another. They haven't seemed to have coped as bad as what other Manchester United players have, and I'd probably say the same about as well Saka. Sancho started to build up everything all over again, and he was one of them who missed a penalty also. So I'm not too sure what's even going on with Marcus Rashford. Some people think he's still carrying an injury. Some people think it's just lack of match fitness. It's just a bit up in the air for me about what's going on. But Christmas time has also gave Rashford a 4, just due to him ran down blind alleys, not working hard enough in defence, and looks most lost a lot of the time as well. We'll go on to our last player of the starting 11 lineup, which is Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo played a full 90 minutes. Passing success is 74.40%. He scored 1 goal, 3 total shots. We all do love Cristiano Ronaldo. He did have them couple of shots, and I think if you had seen that Cristiano Ronaldo, you would have thought they would have gone in, if you get what I mean. And at times for me, it just felt like you couldn't see Cristiano Ronaldo, but he still scored for us that important goal that we needed to win the game. So I'm going to give Cristiano a 7, because if it wasn't for both him and De Gea, we wouldn't have been in the game and we wouldn't have won that. So I'm going to give Ronaldo a 7. What are you going to give Ronaldo?
I'm gonna give him a 6. He scored the penalty, fantastic penalty. He does put himself about a bit in the games, and obviously, we need to work the midfield better in order for us to control. Again, they go back to Ranić's words, control the game. But we've been saying this for months. Once we gain control of a midfield, we've got more options. And he doesn't have to find himself in positions where he's got to then start running from a deep position forward, expending energy that he doesn't need to be. And also, when he took a shot on, he received the ball, he worked the ball in the box, and he turned and he should have either hit it first time, or he didn't, and then he made himself half a yard of space, and he had the perfect opportunity during that just to play a simple little pass across to Bruno, who would have had a free shot at goal. But he took the shot on, worked it onto his left foot, took the shot on, and it was pretty easy save for Krul in the end.
Yeah.
So he was a little bit greedy there, but you know what? Yeah, it is Ronaldo, and he scores goals. That's what he does.
Yeah. Christmas time Avant gave Ronaldo a 5 and Niall Kane gave a 10. I almost forgot about another starting 11 player, so we'll touch on him. Jadon Sancho. Sancho played a total of 67 minutes, a passing success of 86.50%, 1 successful dribble, 1 accurate cross. This is another player who I'm very, very impressed with. I feel like Sancho is actually it feels like the top isn't as heavy with him anymore. You can see a lot more beautiful creativity from Jadon Sancho. He's getting into these spaces. He's acting more of a winger now instead of being a bit unconfident, passing the ball back. He's taking on these defenders. He's doing amazing crosses into the box. And I was really happy with Sancho's performance. I'm going to give Sancho a 6. What are you going to give Sancho?
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 7 because he works hard. He does work hard. And he is getting more confident in terms of carrying the ball past players and trying to do cutbacks back into the box, which is, you can get a lot of goals from that, But yeah, again, it's a progression thing. This, he's come to the biggest club in the world, played under Ole and that setup, which was quite clearly not really working because he didn't get a lot of game time early on, and now all of a sudden again, like all the other players, he's now faced with a new set of instructions under a new manager. And I think he's taken to it quite well. And you know what? We haven't even seen 5% of what this kid's capable of yet. So that for me is all to come, and I can't wait until we start to see the real Jadon Sancho. But you can see glimpses of it. So yeah, That's me for him.
Varner said Sancho 5 couldn't link with anyone, ran out of steam and wasn't getting into half the spaces enough. Hopefully he's just building match fitness up, because that's the second game he's only lasted an hour in. So it's interesting though why he's not lasting that full 90 minutes, and Niall gave a 6 for Sancho. But I do question, is it because of maybe lack of match fitness, or maybe he wants to give Greenwood a few more minutes? What do you think it is?
What, for Sancho getting taken off?
For Sancho, yeah.
I mean, it could be a number of things. I mean, it could be carrying a knock we don't know about. It could be a slow confidence boost. You know, if he sees him getting leggy or it's not quite working for him, you don't want to knock his confidence. You know, so right, listen, you've done a good job up to this point. Now let's take you off, and then work his time up slowly during games. Well, I see what Baftime's saying there about getting in the half spaces, but in doing that, he's got to be careful that he doesn't leave spaces behind him. You know what I mean? You can't leave corridors when you're playing in the half spaces. If you do that and you haven't got enough backup, it's very easy for the opposition when they get the ball. They've got corridors, then they can attack at pace. They're gone. And once you're in that position, you're inevitably going to relinquish possession to them, either by a breakaway or you're going to foul them because you're going to panic. So I know what Vaughan is saying, but you've got to always be, wary of that fact when you're playing football, because if you can work the half space as well when you've got good backup around you, when you know you've got out balls in 1-2s, underlaps, overlaps. That's where a lot of the danger comes from, is the half spaces. You know, the crosses, the little through balls for runners, etc. But I do understand what Baftime's saying. But again, we're going to see more of this of Jadon. There's no two ways about
that. Just want to say hello there to Daniel as well. Thank you for tuning in. So we've gone through all the starting 11 players now. Please hit the like and subscribe button. We will be next doing a show tonight, the usual studs up for Monday. Just want to say a big thank you to Talk for coming on again to help me out with these player ratings. And thank you for everyone in the live chat for supporting us and also putting your views on the player ratings and what your ratings are. Please stay here ready for 8 o'clock. But until then, we will see you all very, very soon. And that's a goodbye for now.
Ciao.